Now it's time for Fitness Speak. This is my favorite part because I get to talk about my favorite subject, which is the human body and how it functions. Today we're going to talk about breathing. And breathing is obviously one of the most important things. It's the most important thing that we do. And fortunately, our bodies know how to do it very well without us even thinking about it. If we decide to be conscious about breathing, though, we can greatly increase the oxygen levels in our bodies, which in turn will increase our mental clarity, our physical ability, and our confidence because we'll feel stronger and happier. The more oxygen we have in our bodies and in our brains, the happier we're going to be. So today we're going to talk about the muscles that control breathing, and they are intercostal muscles and the thoracic diaphragm. Isn't that exciting? I love talking about intercostal muscles and diaphragm, and you will be too once I'm finished, I promise. So the intercostal muscles are the muscles that run along the chest wall, and they attach to the ribs, all along the ribs, and they are responsible for inhaling and exhaling. And there are three groups of these muscles. They're the external intercostal muscles, the internal intercostal muscles, and the innermost intercostal muscles. We're not going to talk about the innermost intercostal muscles. Did you get that? But we are going to talk about the external intercostal muscles and the internal intercostal muscles. So when you inhale, when your chest cavity expands out, your ribs move out, and your chest rises up, the external intercostal muscles are responsible for that motion. We can force this action by consciously bringing our awareness to our breath and inhaling with intention and force. So you inhale very strongly and completely fill in your lungs capacity. So that's the external intercostal muscles that raise and widen your rib cage, and it allows your diaphragm, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, to push down so that your lungs can fill up that body cavity. It's important to exercise the internal and external intercostal muscles because it helps us to function better and to be better and to feel better. So the external muscles are the ones that are responsible for inhaling. The muscles that are responsible for exhaling are the internal intercostal muscles, and they are the muscles that allow your thoracic cavity, your chest cavity, to sort of cave in and relax, makes your diaphragm move up towards your heart and your lungs, and this allows air to flow out of your lungs. This will happen totally naturally without you thinking about it. But if you do bring attention and awareness to this action, you can force more air out of your lungs, which actually will help to clear your lungs out of the stagnant air. The stronger your intercostal muscles are, the more fully you can exhale and get all of that stagnant, icky air out of your lungs so that then there's more room for new, fresh, oxygenated air to come in. We can actually exercise these muscles by doing a forced breathing practice. And what you do is breathe in, pull the air in as fully and strongly as you can, and feel your chest muscle widening and your diaphragm pushing down into your belly so that your belly actually pushes out. it's a good feeling. It feels good to get all of that air and into your lungs, and you can open up your chest muscles by putting your arms back and pressing your chest out. It really opens up your chest and gets more air into your body. There are a lot of yoga practices. Yoga is all about the breathing. So if you want to pursue breathing practices, I really recommend that you look into a pranayama yoga practice, which is the breathing practice of yoga. You can also exercise the external and internal intercostal muscles by doing overhead chest presses or dumbbell flies or lifting weights in general, any kind of movement that strengthens the muscles, the chest muscles that require you to push or pull or to open your chest up. These are great exercises to strengthen the intercostal muscles. Also, the flexibility of the intercostals is important in terms of being able to fully take in a breath, and stretching, like putting your arms above your head, way up above your head, and stretching as tall as you can, and moving your body from one side to the other. You can feel that stretch in the muscles in between all of your ribs, and that is how to actually increase your lung capacity and the ability to create more space in your chest cavity. Now, the next muscle that we're going to talk about that has to do with breathing is the thoracic diaphragm. There are other diaphragm muscles in the body, like the pelvic diaphragm, but usually when we talk about the diaphragm, we're talking about the thoracic diaphragm. The diaphragm is a sheet of muscle fibers that actually splits your body in half. It separates your thoracic cavity from your abdominal cavity, and this sheet attaches all along the ribs, on the underside of the ribs, and it attaches and it goes all the way across and attaches on the back side of at the spine and the inside of the ribs. It splits your body in half, and so this muscle is parallel with the floor. So what happens is when you exhale, the diaphragm actually relaxes. It sounds sort of counterintuitive, but what happens is it relaxes when you exhale and sort of caves in, falls in. It moves upwards towards your heart and lungs. And this decreases the space in your thoracic and your chest cavity so that the air flows out of your body. When you inhale, the diaphragm pushes down towards the floor into your abdominal cavity, and it pulls air into your lungs. It helps to make a lot of space in your chest cavity so that air can fill in the space. You can consciously do this, and it's important to do this. Our bodies will do it naturally. We don't have to think about it, but if you choose to think about it, you can increase the oxygen levels in your body and you'll feel better. So to exercise the diaphragm, which you can do, a great exercise, and what I do every morning, is breath of fire. And what you do is you stretch really tall and you just really bring in air strong and just push it out as hard as you can over and over and over again. So you're making this pulsing sound with your breath, and that clears out the lungs and it strengthens your diaphragm. I feel a huge amount of gratitude for my intercostals and my diaphragm, because if we didn't have them, we wouldn't be functioning. It's important to be conscious of them and to acknowledge the work that they do for us. And so it's important every day to exercise, and it's really easy to do. all you have to do is breathe in strongly and hold that breath for a moment or two and push the air out of your body as hard as you can to really clear out the lungs. It's going to clear up your mind, your mental capacity is going to be better, your memory is going to be better, you're going to feel better, you're going to stand taller and feel more confident. So I really recommend that you exercise your intercostals and your diaphragm every day. Breathe strong and live strong.